Today on The Grid, it's Ask Us Anything Day. My co-host he's a Justin Bieber fan. He wants to go to Japan. He drives a sedan. He likes cheese from a can. He's got a long lifespan. He loves Jackie Chan. He's been to Spokane. He likes his pies pecan. He rocks out to Duran Duran. It's the real Rocket Man, Erik Kuna. We've got some cool news. We got some delightful prizes. We got some wild Q&As from you. And it all starts in just 21.4 seconds. Let's go!
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to another live episode of The Grid. It's Wednesday, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, and life is good. Glad to have you guys here. It's myself and the real Rocket Man, who is enjoying Scrub-tember. Scrub-tember, where all launches are scrubbed.
Well, SpaceX broke it the other day, but I got a feeling it's going to come back. We'll see.
You think they're going to scrub the Artemis again?
The probability is very, very high that they will.
You got a nice shot there. Can we see that?
Yeah,
What's that?
That's a shot of the Artemis rocket sitting on the pad.
Been there on the pad for a while now, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's from over in Titusville, and then the little birds from the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge over top of them.
Very nice. The National Wildlife Refuge. All right. Yeah. Oh, we got a video?
Oh, I got like time lapses.
Oh, let me see the time lapse.
I've been covering this thing like to death because it's just been sitting on a pad forever. But yeah, that was the crawler way, where they roll it out. But,
well, who's driving back and forth on that crawler way?
That's all the work. Or there's tons of people working on it, trying to get that thing going to orbit.
That's a cool time lapse.
Yeah,
I like the way it kind of it's moving, like the camera's moving.
Thanks.
How are you doing that? You have it on a mover?
No, I actually did that in post because I've got tons of resolution because I'm shooting at 8K. So.
Well, that's nice.
But yeah, no, I've been shooting that thing to death. Those are the astronauts flying over top of it, and they're little trainers. Little trainer planes. Got the trainer planes, but they're so far away, it's hard to see.
Yeah, there they are.
There they are.
I thought it was birds.
But yeah, I've been shooting that thing to death. It's just been sitting there on the pad.
Shooting it to death.
Oh, that was the Starlink launch that broke it.
Oh, you got the Starlink? You got that SpaceX launch?
Yeah. And then went out on the boat. Went out on a boat offshore again.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I got tons of stuff just sitting there.
All right. Yeah. Well, welcome everybody. Mm-hmm. So we today is Ask Us Anything Day. That's first off. So we're just answering questions about anything. If you have questions about gear, about Lightroom, about Photoshop, about basically anything, today's the day to do it.
I can say I hope the questions will revolve around this misunderstanding with the new iPhone camera, because I feel like there's total misunderstandings about like what a camera is.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay. There's that. Also, we've got some prizes to give away, and the way you get entered to win one of the prizes, because people watching live today are going to win these prizes. All you have to do is leave us a comment, and you're entered. But when you do leave a comment, and you can be a question or like it's Ask Us Anything Day. So if you want to leave a question, but at the end say P.S. I'd like to win, and tell us which one of these prizes you'd like to win.
Yeah, tell us what you want to win. So we have the Platypod Twin Pack.
Look at that.
So there you go.
Two Platypod Ultras.
This is great if you're into, any style of photography, but especially macro or lighting, attaching your flashes places.
Yeah, flowers or whatever.
Flowers, anything like that. But, you can never have too many Platypods, that's for sure. And then we're also be giving away Scott's travel photography book. So
what?
We got Scott's travel photography book.
Perfect time of year for it.
He is the author of the travel photography book, and he'll be teaching at the travel photography conference next month. Look at that.
Look at that. That's an amazing coincidence.
Amazing coincidence. And then we have the How Do You Do That in Lightroom book by none other than Scott Kelby
that
again.
one's out now. That just came out. I just launched it like on Monday.
Yep.
This is the brand new updated version. It's got all the new masking stuff in it and all that stuff. This book is not for beginners. If you are brand new to Lightroom, it is not a here's how to use Lightroom. What this book is it's how to do all those things that you've forgotten how to do. You're like, can't Lightroom
how do I do that?
How do I do that? You turn to that page and it just says, here's how to do that one thing. So it's for people that are already using Lightroom. You don't have to be an expert at it, but you're not a beginner either. You're like, I've been using Lightroom for a couple of years, but I wish there was if I get stuck, that there's a book I could just reach for on my desk like I'm doing here. Like I'm doing here.
Up there.
There we go. And you go, oh man, I'm really stuck on that thing. I'm going to go to that chapter that has that is all about the cropping, and then there it is. That's how you change the shading outside my border. I knew you could do it. It's all that stuff.
Look at right there.
It's all that stuff.
That's the page he was reading.
And it is probably my second most popular Lightroom book ever, and I've written a bunch of Lightroom books. So it's like it's in the third edition, and it's like 8th or 9th printing. But the print version is now in stock at Barnes & Noble and at Amazon and any place cool books are sold, at Rocky Nook Publishing. So it just came out this week. So, hey, maybe they'll play the little trailer for it. Maybe on one of the breaks that they can. It's on YouTube. And
the trailer for the Travel Photography Conference is coming up next month.
Are we giving away any plugins today?
But I think we've been giving stuff away, but I don't think that our prompter is working that's telling us what we're giving away.
Yeah, there's a thing that tells us what we're giving away. So there'll be other things.
There'll be other things. I would imagine it'll be
the V-flats. V-flat world. Yeah.
So we're giving away the V-flats from V-flat World.
That's for folks in the U.S. because it has to be shipped
giving away one of their dual boards XL. So we've been giving those away on the show, and then everybody is a winner when it comes to V-flat World because you can get 10% off by using the code. I believe it's Kelby10.
Yeah.
Yep, Kelby10 at checkout, and you can get 10% off.
Yeah, their stuff is phenomenal.
Are we giving out anything? And then we're giving away On1 Effects. So awesome plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom where you can do cool effects without knowing all that magic stuff in Photoshop.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I use it all the time.
Oh, yeah. Love those things.
It's my finishing move. It's my little secret weapon.
It's so great when you can just hit a button and do something that used to take you like 20 minutes.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's what I love about it. Yeah, my days of having to do everything the hard way are over.
But I feel like there's a lot of people that just like to do it the hard way.
Yeah, there are still some of those people
that like to
get satisfaction from that. I'm not. I get satisfaction from looking at the image. Yeah, click. All right. I have an update on the chicken sandwich wars. It's important because we started this last week. Just to recap for those of you who weren't here last week. So one of the top-ranked, top 3 chicken sandwiches was the Burger King King. That's the actual name of it.
Yeah.
Now,
it came out under another name in the beginning.
Yeah, it came out just as
branded it as the King.
Right. And I didn't know this when I was telling people how great it was, because there were people that I would say, oh my gosh, the Burger King chicken sandwiches, and then someone would say, Scott, I tried it and it's just okay. And I'm like, I didn't realize it was not rolled out nationwide. When they did roll it out nationwide, that's when they branded it the King. Honestly, because I'm not a Burger King fan, I don't ever go to Burger King for anything until that sandwich. Well, the other day I'm driving through Burger King. I'm like, if I'm driving through Burger King, I'm only there for that sandwich. I'm like, I'd like the spicy chicken, and they're like, it's been discontinued. It's been discontinued? The best thing on the whole Burger King menu has been discontinued? Yes, sir. So I went and looked it up. And here's what Burger King said. I actually read the quote last week, but Burger King said essentially, so the burger this chicken sandwich was kind of hard to make and get consistent, and so we dropped it. Because it was the best thing on our menu, we dropped it, and we came out with another chicken sandwich that's easier to make. So last week I said...
That probably won't taste as good.
Somebody wrote in last week and said, I tried it, it's total the new one, it's called the chicken royal or
Royal
something.
Chicken, yeah. They're coming out with it now. They're trying to rebrand it.
So I said, I'm going to try it.
I saw it on all the sports games this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw it, yeah. They were trying.
So I went
hard.
I went and tried it. When I left the grid last week, I had to go to my brother's house, and I tried it. And I will say this. They should have just called it's the old chicken sandwich that nobody liked. Because it didn't taste, it literally tasted like the old chicken sandwich that nobody cared about or gave a rat's butt about.
But isn't it the old chicken sandwich that nobody cared about that now we're pouring sauce on?
Now you can pour barbecue sauce or buffalo ranch. But I'm telling you, it was lame. I was like, I cannot believe they had this great thing and they just couldn't get the franchisees or whoever to consistently make it good. And they said, Now, We do have a new reigning champion because this week I was in the Atlanta airport. I went out to Salt Lake City. I'll talk about that in a second. But I stopped at a Popeyes. There's a Popeyes.
Yes.
And I'm in line, and every single person ordered the same thing. Number 8, number 8, number 8. Everyone orders the spicy chicken sandwich because that's what made Popeyes the thing, right? Yeah. I had it. It's darn good, but it is no longer the best chicken sandwich in America. It's very, very good, and I used to hold it up as who can reach it. Somebody has surpassed it. It is a fast-growing new chain, and I'm telling you, it blows it away.
Okay.
The Outback Steakhouse started a new fast-through chain called the
Aussie Grill.
Aussie Grill. Thank you. Yeah. The Aussie Grill. Number one, the Aussie Grill menu is fantastic. There's only 2 things wrong with the Aussie Grill. Number one, it's pretty expensive. Like the sandwich is like $10. It's like very expensive.
Yeah.
The menu's phenomenal, and they're slow. Like you order and they take your name. But they have to take your name, you know,
yeah.
we're going to be here a while. So it's slow. It's always slow when I go through. Like it's not like McDonald's where you drive in and the food's been sitting there and they just pop it in a bag. They say they make it fresh for you, so it takes an extra couple minutes. But it is worth the wait and worth the cost. Eric, I'm telling you, it is unbelievable. Aussie Grill. Now, it's growing nationwide. It's all over Florida, and it's in a couple of other select states.
Local Tampa restaurant.
Yeah, because Outback Steakhouse is based and started here in Tampa. But I'm telling you, unbelievable. And it's the biggest chicken sandwich, Eric, you will ever see. It is the largest single chicken sandwich. It is like an entire chicken. It's got, beak and anyway. Now so that's the update. We have a new champion, and it was also voted best chicken sandwich in Tampa Bay, best sandwich in Tampa Bay. It was voted just independently of what I'm talking about. And they have a big sign out front. It's on the menu, the best chicken sandwich. And I'm telling you, the sriracha chicken sandwich at the Aussie Grill. What? All right. So, hey, I did go to Salt Lake City.
Yeah, you did.
To Picture Line, which is a great camera store out there. They had a grand opening. They built this whole new space. They had a little trade show. They had catered food that was delicious. Because, catered food is usually, Dude, they catered it from a Mexican restaurant. It was fantastic. The whole event was awesome. I had a great time.
So if you paid your $15 and got your $15
No,
back?
It's better than I thought.
Yes.
So you paid $15 to go, which included dinner.
Yes.
They gave you a $30 gift card if you spent the gift card that weekend. So I was on Friday night, and then they had all day Saturday. If you didn't spend it that weekend, then it goes down to a $15 card. But they gave you $30.
Doubled your money that weekend.
Doubled your money when you went, and they had all the vendors were there: Canon and Nikon and Sony and Westcott and everybody. They had just rows and rows of vendors and food. It was a lot of fun. It was really very nice. And I gave a presentation and saw some old friends. I saw Levi Sim.
Oh yeah, nice.
I saw my friend Lyle was there. There was a lot of, and I met. Oh, dude, I got to show you this guy. I wish I could tell you guys his name. His name is Derek, but he is involved in a project, and you've probably heard of this project, where they take the largest freestanding American flag and they hang it off of bridges and stuff.
I've never heard of this. That's cool,
dude. It's amazing, and he does drone photography with it with a Sony drone.
Wow! And
this Sony drone is big enough to pick up a Sony DSLR. And fly, so it's kind of like a serious drone.
Big one,
his pictures are phenomenal. So I think his name is Derek. I'm gonna see if I can find him. But it's a nonprofit thing where they fly this flag around. The flag weighs 450 pounds.
Wow.
They hoist it up off a bridge or something, and then they photograph it. It's really neat. It's a whole project and all. But I had dinner with him. He's one of the guys who just happened to wind up. He was the guy in front of me in line, and I'm like, he's showing me stuff, and I'm like, holy crap, his stuff was really good.
That's awesome. All
right, now we're still working on. We're not answering questions because we can't see any of them. There's a malfunction in the studio. Wait.
Christine will find a different way.
Yeah,
she'll
find a
way.
way.
HDMI inputs too. I know how that gets.
Yeah. Anyway, they're working on that. So this is called stalling. When you start talking about chicken sandwiches in the middle of the show, and it's a photography show.
Well, but I think we deserve the grid viewers deserve this hard hitting.
This is hard hitting news.
Deep. Yeah, this is.
Well, because nobody tells you. Just
frontline reporting.
People don't tell you the truth about your photography, and people don't tell you the truth about chicken sandwiches because they'll just say Chick-fil-A is the best, and that's not true.
Chick-fil-A is good.
Chick-fil-A is good. It's its
its own category.
It's its own category.
I don't think anybody's ever tried to replicate the Chick-fil-A.
No, because the Chick-fil-A is just a piece of chicken and one single pickle. There's nothing else on it.
Yeah.
It's like, if that's you.
But it's a different type.
It is a different type. It's not even in the chicken sandwich wars. It's you go there because it has a particular thing you like.
Yep.
It's not like, because you can go right across the street where we live. You go right across the street to PDQ.
Yep.
They got better waffle fries by a mile and better chicken sandwiches. Dude, you ever try the Buffy Blue there?
Yes, but it's a totally different one.
It's a totally
And that's
different
what it
chicken
comes down
sandwich.
to.
Yeah, you're going to Chick-fil-A because you want that particular thing.
Some people like top ramen. What are you going to
Also,
whatever.
My son and I, we had to go and do a title thing with his truck or whatever to get something changed on it. So I went over to Tampa with him, and we went to, ready? Maggiano's in the day.
Yeah.
I've never been to Maggiano's in the day. Maggiano's Little Italy.
I didn't even think they were open for lunch.
I didn't think they were. Dude, they have a lunch menu.
Wow.
With little combos and stuff. It was great. The Maggiano salad is one of my favorite salads anywhere.
I couldn't imagine going to Maggiano's for lunch.
Dude, there was nobody there. There was, in the restaurant that holds 300
I was thinking
people.
more just the amount of food.
Including
they
my
usually
son and
consumed
myself.
at Maggiano's.
15 people.
Yeah.
15.
Wow.
Say it with me.
15.
15. So anyway, that's
Right.
a new discovery.
Well, maybe we'll find out a different way to get get the questions over here. Like
maybe we'll just write them on a piece of paper and slide them to us.
Them over.
But what else is going on?
See, hydrogen's leaking out of a rocket again today from NASA.
I thought they fixed it. I thought they found a fix for it.
Well, they did. They tried to fix it, and then it happened again today. But now they had it and they fixed it again. But now they're
leaking
trying it
again.
So,
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, you got to realize every time that they scrub a launch, what a pain in the butt it is for Erik. Because
part of the process.
when they scrub it, it's not like they go, "Hey, we scrubbed the launch. Let's take you out to the pad to get your camera so you can get home," because you got a a 2-hour drive. How long from the time where they scrub a launch to where you can actually go get your camera?
Well, it varies, but for a launch like this, days.
Days. So you got to go back days later or
Days
spend
later.
extra days in there.
It's usually just going back.
Just to go get your gear and
Yeah.
pack it back up again.
With nothing on your camera.
Yeah,
Just
not a single shot on your card.
Yep, nothing. But yeah,
They're still working on the monitor in here. Oh, okay.
we'll go to a break.
Yeah,
and
let's
then
go to
we'll
a break and we'll see if we
when
can get
get
these
back,
questions
we'll have
working.
Some questions from you
Maybe.
guys.
Could happen.
So there are some things that we decided to do early on to make our online training really resonate with photographers and make it an immersive experience. We're in Manhattan with a ballerina from the New York City Ballet. Or when we teach you travel photography, you're right there with the instructor in the streets of Paris or Venice, learning everything from the camera techniques to the photography techniques to the camera settings. We're flying a squadron of warbirds in formation off the coast, and you're right there in the chase plane, and you see it all unfold right in front of you. Whether we're in the studio or out in the field, you're right there every step of the way. With 24/7 access, you can watch it on your desktop or laptop, your tablet or your phone. We even have an Apple TV app. You can also take classes offline, so if you're traveling, you don't have internet access, you can still keep learning. We've put together learning tracks that start you off by suggesting specific classes. And when you're done with that, you're ready to start exploring more than 800 classes. If you think your best images are still inside you, let us help you break through that, take you to the next level. We'll see you in class. If you're already pretty comfortable with Lightroom, you probably do not need another book teaching you how to learn Lightroom, right? I mean, you're already using it all the time. But sometimes when you're working in Lightroom, you just get stuck. There's like a particular thing that you need to do, or there's a particular image problem you need to deal with, but you need to know how to do it and how to fix it right now. Now, imagine if you could pick up a book, turn right to the page that covers that one technique, boom, there's the answer, you fix the problem, so you keep right on rolling. A book like that, now that book would be absolutely invaluable. It just sits right there on your desk or even on your phone. And it's like an assistant, like a little Lightroom assistant standing by right there to help you for the times where you get stuck. Luckily, there already is a book out there like that, and thousands of photographers all over the world reach and grab it so they can get their work done right now. The book is called How Do I Do That in Lightroom? And each page covers just one topic, just one technique, just one fix or tweak or problem, how to solve that one thing. It is one of the best-selling Lightroom books of all time. And now it just got a huge update, which includes all the new masking features, which, by the way, those were real game changers. And it includes all the latest features and tips, the latest techniques, the new insights, workarounds, tips. It's been massively updated from cover to cover to make it the most valuable version of the book ever. Best of all, you can get your own copy right now. You can have it on your bookshelf or your phone, so the next time you're stuck, you can reach for it, get the answer you need right then, and then get right back to editing. So the book is called How Do I Do That in Lightroom, the 3rd edition. It's in bookstores right now, so go pick up your copy today.
A lot of adventure photographers will seek action, and I definitely think that's one way to take a really great photo. The aspect I'm always looking for is how to bring art into adventure photography. So if I'm going to spend a lot of time climbing something, it can't just be because of the difficulty. It needs to also be because it's beautiful. I just love that feeling of being like lit up by something. That day that I finally climbed from the bottom to the top without falling, I'm just like filled with this adrenaline. I think that's why climbing is so addictive, because we're always sort of chasing that moment. And when I'm taking a photo that I'm really excited about, I'm just filled to the brim with that exact same feeling.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey, we're back.
We got some questions.
We got some questions? All
we
right.
We do.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, look at, we actually have the whole screen back now.
Oh, yay.
Sweet. All right, so I got a question here for you, Scott, from Jay Dahl is asking, Scott, did you make it to Crown Burger when you were in Salt Lake City last week?
I was so close to going to Crown Burger. I was so close. I was sitting in my room at night, and I was like, I should just take an Uber and go to Crown Burger. I love Crown Burger, but I didn't. I wound up going downstairs in the DoubleTree and getting a burger there, which was not nearly as good. It was okay, but it wasn't there. Yeah, I should have gone to Crown Burger. I love Crown Burger, and this is the first time I've ever been to Salt Lake and did not get to Crown Burger. So sadly, I did not. That was very sad, unfortunately. And then, but hey, can I say something?
Yeah.
So, however, I did have my best breakfast of 2022 in Salt Lake City. A brand new breakfast restaurant that my friend Brandon found called Eggsburg. EGGSBURGH. Hands down, best breakfast of 2020. I went back the second day before my flight. I got up early, set my alarm really early, walked to the restaurant, and left from the restaurant to the airport. That's how good it was.
All right.
Best breakfast
there you
of
go.
2022.
And continuing the food conversation, Rami is chiming in with saying, you got to come to my place, Scott, and I'll make you chicken shawarma over charcoal.
Ooh.
Which is totally different than
that's
chicken
totally different.
sandwiches.
Yeah, but that sounds
I'm
good.
sure it sounds great. So,
ooh, it does actually sound really good.
All right. And then, so a question here. P. Courier is asking, I just tried an indoor shoot at a local church using a Platypod at my G850 with a 14 to 24.
Oh, nice.
All shots at 14 millimeters and at f11. My question is, should I always include the floor 2 as a leading line? I do.
I would say this. I always try to create that because, especially in a church, your pews are then going to be a leading line down to the altar. And also it gives it much more depth. So I'll tell you something, and I'm going to take this thing that I'm telling you, and I'm going to apply it to another type of photography. If you ever get the chance to go out to Arizona and you go to the slot canyons,
slots. I was just thinking the same thing. This is so funny.
You got to show the ground.
You got to show the ground.
The ground really helps you have a sense of scale and an anchor. Yeah. And I feel the same way. I feel the same way inside a church. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do everything in every shot. But do I normally include the floor as a leading line? Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why if I'm not going to include the floor, I can just shoot standing there, handheld, right? Getting down low, you're doing that because you want that. Also, interesting trick. This is weird. Do you know that when you put your platypod on the ground, the floor becomes tremendously more reflective than it does when you're standing. So you will actually get a reflection, like it'll look shiny and reflective, where when you're standing there, you think this tile is not, or this floor is not reflective, until you get down low, and all of a sudden, that's like a bonus of shooting down low. Also, when you include the floor, it just makes the room look bigger. So yeah, it's not a rule, it's not a law, but do I usually include the floor? I usually do. Not always, but yeah, 90% of the time, yes.
Yeah, I just like it too for scale. So in scale, when you don't see the floor, like we know what a chair is supposed to be size-wise. We know what seats are supposed to be size-wise.
Yeah, good question here from Pat.
Yeah. So Pat's asking, in Lightroom, how do you process rainbows to maximize the color? Or do you need to work in Photoshop? And please, how do you do that in Lightroom?
Yeah, you can do it in Lightroom. Here's what I would do is go to the masking tool, click on the brush. When it says here's the list of tools, click on the brush, and then paint over. You're going to have a soft edge, right? So paint over the rainbow, right? Now, depending on how defined your rainbow is, you might have to mess with the feather amount, right? Because it's set at 50% by default. That should probably be okay. Paint the rainbow, all right? Paint the rainbow, then get some Skittles. No, paint the rainbow, and then go to the vibrance, either the vibrance or the saturation. You can use either one, but for that tool, you only have one choice. It's saturation. You don't actually have vibrance. But interesting, ready for this side tip? Did you know this? I didn't know this until I think it was Rob Sylvan pointed out. When you're using the masking tool and you go to the only slider is saturation. There is no vibrance. If you drag to the right, it automatically invokes vibrance. And if you drag to the left, it invokes desaturate. So it's the saturation slider to the left of it and the vibrant slider to the right. So go to the saturation slider of the masking tool and drag it up to enhance your colors. Now, if that does not do it enough, you can do this. Get out of the masking, go to the HSL color panel, and inside of there you'll find a thing called the targeted adjustment tool. Can you show them the targeted adjustment tool? Can you look at Eric's screen real quick?
Yeah, here, I pulled up a rainbow shot.
All right.
So there's before. And over here, and then you got the
right
target.
There. Take that targeted adjustment tool and click on one of the colors.
Right.
And then drag straight up. And it will enhance that particular color, then move to the yellow, and it'll move the right sliders and go to the green, and it'll move just the colors in there. The only downside to this is it's going to adjust all of those. Like if you have a lot of greens, it's going to adjust all the greens. That's why I like painting in the
and that's instead. Way too much, but you get the point.
Yeah, you get the idea. But that's how you do it.
Yeah. But that's usually that's the raw file, as it comes out. And then you can just.
All right, question for Eric from Tim. Tim says, Eric, have you used the new Topaz Photo AI plugin that I saw it announced last week?
Not. I saw it announced too. I haven't had a chance to download it and mess around with it. It'll be interesting to see because it's almost like it's just basically a whole AI, just photo
look at the whole image
for the whole image. So I've not tried it. Don't know. Looks interesting, but
it's like you're having somebody else edit your photo.
Yeah, that's what it looks interesting, but it seems like maybe it'd be a good place for first pass edit.
Yep.
Sometimes that's nice. That's where the auto button's really nice because it kind of does a first pass.
This is pretty cool. We got a lot of good questions. Peter's asked, as far as resolution goes, the question is the R5 or the R6. So the R5 has tremendously higher resolution than the R6. I believe the R6 is 20 megapixels. Is that correct?
20.2.
20.2. Just over 20 megapixels. And 45 for the R. The only reason why I would go for the R is, the R5, excuse me, is either I'm really big into video and I need to make really, really, really large prints because it's quite a bit more expensive. The R5 is tremendously more expensive. It does have more resolution, but I would ask yourself, do I need more resolution?
There are pluses and minuses to that.
Yes.
Because the plus to more resolution is you have more resolution. The minus to more resolution is you're going to fill up your cards faster. It's going to take more storage space. It's going to take fancier cards that need fancier write speeds and read speeds.
Yeah.
So there's all these things that go into it. It's not just one thing. And you got to think nowadays, honestly, 20.2 megapixels, you can with rescalers and resizers easily
Get to
get
whatever
that.
you want.
Like when Scott's saying a big print, like we're talking like mammoth, like
way beyond 24 by
and
36.
mammoth prints that people are going to stand within 10 feet of. You know, because
Yeah.
if people are standing like billboards, they're standing hundreds of feet from. You don't need resolution like that for a billboard. You need resolution like that.
You know what the
for,
resolution is for a billboard?
Oh, it's really.
It's
like,
25 dpi.
You get up, it's like pennies.
It's 20.
Like,
It's 25 dpi.
Yeah.
All right. Then the second question is about autofocus for wildlife and nature.
Yeah.
So it's, and I guess you're asking R5
is
versus
one
R6.
better than the other? They're almost as
Yeah, they're almost identical, and they
They're
both
almost-
have wildlife eye detection, animal eye detection. So
which is scary good.
scary good. So
It'll say when I'm shooting a bird and they turn away, it leaves the eye. They turn back, it picks up the eye.
yeah.
All that stuff.
Well, I would say this, Peter. I could have a 5 or a 6, and Mr. Kuna could have a 5 or
I could.
6, and I chose a 6.
Chose the 6. Me
Yeah,
too.
and I love it, love it, love it, love it.
And it's not, and again, there's nothing wrong with the 5. I think the 5 is great, but the drawbacks to the 5 were the reason I went with the 6. I also like the 6 for one reason, other reason for that, but it's for me is that the pixel dimension, so 20 megapixels for low light is better than 45 megapixels for low light and for like Milky Way stuff.
All right, a question from Judy. Can you explain how the face recognition works in Lightroom? It totally messed me up the other day. So any of this AI stuff, Judy, works most of the time. And by most of the time, I mean like a vast majority of the time. It is, but occasionally it messes up. Now, the face recognition that it does, it says select subject is what it says. So your subject could be a basketball or could be whatever, but you can do select subject and then just limit it to the face by erasing anything else. So, and that's what I generally do, is I'll just, or my favorite way to do this, Judy, is this. Go to the masking tool. Actually, I'll show you. Hang on. Let me fire up Lightroom and I'll show you. Let me find a person and all that stuff. So give me a second. Oh, here's a person. All right. Can you see my screen? All right. So go to the masking tool here, Judy. And what I would do is go here. We'll create the mask that we're going to create is called color range. And color range is going to make a selection based on color. So I select skin tone. So I'll click on color range. I'll go up to her face and I'll click and drag like over. Do you see a square? I'm dragging a square over her face or a rectangle. And then it selects her skin. Now it also selected some other things like part of the drapes because her skin tone is close to the drapes. So what I would do then, ready? This is key. Go over here to where it says subtract. And if you don't see the word subtract, Judy, click on your mask and then it'll pop down. Click subtract, go to linear gradient and drag from the bottom up into where just her face is the only thing left. Now, her hands are selected as well, right? But did you notice, and this is what's cool about this, Judy, her lips aren't selected, and neither are her eyes or her eyebrows. And that's what I like about doing it this way with that color range. It just selects the skin tones, and it doesn't select anything else. Now, you could say subtract brush and say don't do the hand, don't do this hand, and don't do maybe her shoulders right there. Now, when you make an adjustment, it's just adjusting her face. So that's it. That's how it works. But that's the one I would use if you're looking at facial recognition. Now, Photoshop has an entirely different whole world of facial recognition inside of the liquify filter. But you said in Lightroom, so that's how I would use it in Lightroom. Because otherwise, it's going to select all of her. Like select subject will select all of her. All right, Marianne wants to know, Erik, how do you protect your gear if it's sitting out there on the pad for days?
Well, this is an interesting one. Think about it the same way you'd protect your gear if you're out there. You know you're going to shoot in the rain. What do you do if you know you're going to shoot in the rain? You
Put a rain
cover your
cover
gear.
over it, yeah.
That's all we're doing. I mean, honestly, I just pulled up this presentation. So here you go. This is the back of the car, unload the car. Those are the cameras that are going on the pad. You can see they are wrapped up in basically a protective wrap around the whole camera. and then those are placed out at the pad. So you're placed out of the pad days ahead of time, and then you're just securing it to the ground, and you're setting up all the settings, setting up all that, and you can see over there on the top of the camera, I've got a sound trigger. That sound trigger is set up for a threshold, and that's sitting out there. And these are, see, this one's not even spiked into the ground. I didn't even like attach it to the ground. We didn't have weather for that launch. I didn't think there was going to be any weather issues, because when there's weather issues, though, I'll stake it to the ground, make sure it's not going to blow over. And really, it's not the rocket that's going to blow it over. It is a quick thunderstorm that blows through, and you get that 40-mile-an-hour gust or something like that. So that's all it is just setting up those cameras ahead of time, protecting them from the elements, and then that's it.
All right.
Let it go.
Can you scroll up a little on the questions there? Scroll up. All right, keep going. Andy. Hi, Andy. Andy's a buddy of mine. Really, really good photographer. Andy says, have you seen some of the latest AI-generated images, and how do you think it will affect the industry?
Ooh, yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a number of different programs right now that will literally, you say, I want to make mountains, I want to make trees,
Yes.
and it will generate, it will look at a library of trees and create a new unique tree for you. And so you can do this via audio, right?
Yeah,
say,
you're just basically describing what the picture is to the AI, and the AI is dreaming up what that picture would be,
Right.
based on previous pictures of what you're describing.
Yeah, now you realize that we've always been able to do this with a pencil and pen.
Yeah.
But now it's done photographically.
Yes.
And I saw some stuff that excuse me, a landscape photographer is doing that looks pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But it is you would almost call it fantasy art.
Yeah.
Because it's not a place that really exists. And I think
visual art.
yeah, I think that there's a place for it, just like there's a place for art of space. You can buy pictures of spacecraft and things that don't exist that people have made in 3D models and stuff like that. And I think there's fine for it, as long as you don't try to pass it off.
Well,
as
and I think
something
that's
that
the
it's
key, is if you're trying to pass off what you're doing as a photograph, but it's really fake, like that's where
it's
the
just
problem
like anything
is.
else. If you show a picture of a spacecraft and say this is real, and then you're lying about it, then whatever. So there's that. Okay. Let's see. Charles says, gents, thank you for the formal gents. I haven't used tethering in a while. Apparently, I've only been able to use it in Lightroom Classic. Do you know if they will put it in Lightroom, I guess the other version, the cloud version, or is there a way to do it in Adobe? No, Charles, I don't think it's coming to Lightroom. What do we call it? We'll just call it the cloud version.
Just Lightroom.
Lightroom. We'll just call it Lightroom.
Yeah.
Or Lightroom for Kids. I don't think it's coming to that version anytime soon, Charles.
Yeah.
That's one of the many things that they don't think their audience.
It's from the beginning. That's why there was Lightroom Pro, and then there was Lightroom for Kids.
Yeah.
And that's where it just kind of it's kept that.
And it was designed for a particular mobile photographer. And they don't think mobile photographers are going to need to be shooting.
They don't want to do tethered, so they're not going to put it in because they're shooting for mobile. They're targeting mobile photographers with that.
I do not see it coming. All right, John says, I have a question, but we'll answer it after the break. So when we come back, we're going to pick up with John's question, and then we're also going to, on the break here, we're going to take a quick look at what's coming up with our travel photography conference. That's coming up, so give that a quick look. And, of course, if you want to go and sign up, go over to kelby1live.com, and we'll see you in just a second. Don't go away.
So why is now the perfect time for a travel photography conference? Because we're traveling now. We're back out again. We were locked down for so long, but there's this pent-up demand, and now we're all out there shooting like mad. And it's the perfect marriage of it's the right time, it's the right price. You can come back with amazing photos with minimal gear and minimal cost, and just come back and blow everybody away with the images. And they'll be jealous. They'll be very, very jealous, because we all want to travel. Right now, travel is hot. You're going to learn from the very best, most passionate, talented, gifted, great communicators on the planet. So whether it's post-processing or shooting or locations or travel tips, they're driven to share this stuff. It's something inside them that's just like, I got to get this out there. What are the right lenses? What are the right accessories? What kind of tripod should you take? How many tripods should you take? How many bodies, how many cards? We're covering all of that stuff. This is a multi-day conference. We've got 2 different tracks going, 2 days and a pre-conference day. But you can pick and choose which ones you want to go to, and maybe even best of all, it's archived for a whole year. So when is all of this? It happens October 25th and 26th. And the day before we have actually a pre-conference session you go, it's included in your conference fee. You can see the whole thing and just spend a few days just getting lost in all this. And just focus on being creative, learning new techniques, learning about the gear, learning the post-processing, having fun, and there's such a great community built around all of this online. It's a really amazing thing to see. You'll make new friends. People will help you out. They'll answer your questions. There's so much that happens around this whole thing that makes it such a very special experience. You will learn a lot. You will laugh a lot. You're going to make new friends, learn new stuff, take great pictures. And when you have all of this stuff, I wish you a great, safe journey. Come back with some amazing photos. I know you're going to, because you just learned exactly how.
Hey guys, I'm Tuvi, and I'm going to show you 2 really cool products that we at VFlat World sell. So the first one is our Duo boards, which are double-sided, hyper-realistic backdrops for food and product photographers. They come in 2 sizes. This is the larger side. We have all different types of textures and designs. These are some of the new ones that came out recently, and they also, there's a bag option available for them. And our other product, which is what we actually started the company with, it's called a V-flat. It's a foldable V-flat, and it's used for portrait and studio photographers to control light on their subjects, to either add light with the white side or use the black side to subtract light, or even block like an unwanted window light coming in.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Hey-o! Hey, guess where I'm going in 9 days?
I bet you're going to Italy.
Italy, yes. I'm doing a workshop in Tuscany in 9 days, and I cannot wait. I am working with Mimo Madani, Kelby 1 instructor and just amazing person all the way around, is working with me on what we're going to do and where we're going to go. And we've got some cool things cooking up. So we got some great ideas, and it's just a small group of people, and me and Mimo. And we're going to be getting up late, staying up late, and we're going to be having some wine. We're going to be having some Italian food. Ooh, it's going to be good. It's going to be so sweet. All right. So, John Austin.
Here's a closer picture of what I was talking about.
Oh, that's a good picture.
That's a closer up picture of, so that you can see that. And I specifically get those camera bags that have that like flash attachment on the top, not to do anything other than create like a protective barrier around my sound trigger. That's all it does. But yeah, that's all it is. It's all it is. It's not really, there's nothing else to it.
But it's important.
It's important.
John Austin says he wants our views on the Canon R5 in a 1.6 crop mode to extend the reach of the 100. So he's got a 100 to 500
for
mirrorless lens for wildlife. And his question is am I better to use the 1.6 crop mode that the Canon R5 has, or is he better off to use a Canon R7, which is a non-full frame camera,
right?
Which means it already gets you closer. So it's 32 plus megapixels for the R7, and you get closer to the wildlife. So your 100 to 500 becomes like a 200 to 700 or something. And you still have 32 megapixels. If you use the crop mode in the R5, what happens?
Well, you use the crop mode in the R5 and you're dropping your megapixels down. I just looked it up. You're going all the way down to 17.5 megapixels in that crop mode. So the question being, are you better off with the R7? I think if you're talking wildlife and wanting reach, absolutely. That's what that camera is built for.
Yep.
I think if there is a person that should have the R7, it would be wildlife photographers.
Yep.
Because you're getting that longer reach with that glass. So like Scott said, you take that 500 times 1.6, and that's what you're going to end up getting without cropping. And the other thing is you're getting that full 32.5 megapixels out of the R7 versus the 17.5 megapixels out of the R5.
Hey, John, I've never heard anyone that ever went on any kind of a wildlife excursion, whether to Africa or anywhere else, said, I wish I had a shorter lens.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody wants a longer lens. Everybody. Now, you could say I can get longer if I'm willing to knock down to 17 megapixels, but if the R7, you got 30-something megapixels.
And you have all the other stuff that you would really need, the tracking and all that stuff with the R7.
Yeah, so... Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's hard. The R5 is a great camera.
I don't think you can go wrong with either one, but I don't think it's so clear cut. I think there are advantages and disadvantages. Is the sensor better on the R5? Yes, it is. Are the frames per second better on the R7? I believe they are. I think the R7.
I think they're very comparable.
I thought the R7 was faster.
R7's faster, but I think it's very comparable.
All right. So anyway, that's.
I mean, it starts getting into all that stuff where it's like. But I think honestly that R7 is really geared towards people. If you're into like wildlife, long lens, telephoto stuff. I mean, that's where the 70 Mark II is one of my favorite cameras I've ever had. Like that really was a great long lens, air shows, all that stuff. That was the camera to go to.
Nick says, Scott, is your new Lightroom book on Lightroom or Lightroom Classic or both? It's actually on both. It is mostly on Classic only because there's more things in Classic. There's a lot more features, but there's plenty of times where either the feature is exactly the same. There's nothing really, Nick, of any consequence in Lightroom Cloud that isn't in Classic. It's just there's way more features in Classic. So you'll get to a particular page and there's something that Lightroom Cloud won't do. But it's based on Classic, and all the screen captures are mostly from Classic. But we did include both. And where it's different, like for some weird reason, Nick, like they call the lens correction panel in Lightroom Classic, they call it the geometry panel or whatever. And I write it in there. I go, this is called the geometry panel in Lightroom Cloud. I make if there's any differences, I mention it in the book and stuff. But a lot of it is the same, but it's not 100%. It's based on Lightroom Classic, but I do include all the Lightroom Cloud stuff there as well. Claudia says, Scott and Eric, I'm looking to visit the Tampa area. Any suggestions of things to photograph? I'll give you a couple, then I'll let Mr. Kuna do his. I will say this, when people have come to the Tampa area, they are enthralled to shoot the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. It is a very interesting bridge with very neat color, and there's all kinds of shooting locations to get it. It looks great at sunset or at night even. So I would say the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. Number two, the campus of the University of Tampa has, it's an old hotel with minarets, silver minarets, and it's kind of a symbol of Tampa. For walking around, I want to walk around and get good stuff. There's two places I'd recommend. Ybor City, which is just outside of downtown. It's kind of a neat, eclectic, old area that used to be a lot of like cigar factories and stuff, and now it's restaurants and cafes.
He's hitting all the good places.
And also there is a Riverwalk area that is starting to really take off, and there's a very interesting building. The Glazer Children's Museum, right in downtown Tampa, is a very photogenic, modern building. And lastly, in St. Petersburg, Florida, right across the bridge, is right before you get to the Sunshine Skyway, is the Salvador Dali Museum. And that's a wild building, and they have a really neat staircase inside. And it's a great museum. Those would be my picks for shooting in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, you hit pretty much everything that I would have hit. I mean, there's
it's
stuff
not it's not New York.
It's not.
There's
New York.
a limited number
but
of places.
But there are like cool little gems in between. But it's really not like Sand Key. There's the pier or the bridge out there has like a nice leading line of the rocks, and I mean there's other things. There's old piers
and there's nice sunsets. Yeah, there's there's beautiful sunsets.
Yeah, definitely sky replacement haven out here usually. So
you can get phenomenal. I mean, and you've seen the last week or so, the skies have been phenomenal.
This is the time of year where it is really like that here.
And Claudia, while you're here, I highly recommend going to the Aussie Grill and trying the sriracha chicken sandwich. You won't regret it. Susan says, Eric, what's your best tool to enhance the Milky Way in Lightroom? I like how your preset Roswell pulls out the Milky Way, but I want something different on the rest of the photo.
Right. So this is an interesting one. I would say the best tool is actually stuff that you wouldn't use. You use in a different way on other photos. Let me show you. So one that we tend to use a lot is we tend to bring out texture, right? So we actually move it over this way. I'm just going to exaggerate this a lot, right? So we tend to bring out texture, right? But we don't want to do that a lot of times with the Milky Way. We actually want to take texture away. So that's one tool that we're going to use differently. So bringing texture out. The other thing is clarity. Clarity helps to really increase the Milky Way. And then let me zoom out so you can kind of see the overall. But you can see like the clarity really helps to bring that out.
Oh, that clarity's magic.
But don't go above like 40 or so. And then dehaze is another one that really helps to dehaze the sky. You can see that helps to dehaze. Now, all that said, really the magic inside of Lightroom is this little button up here where you can actually just hit select sky, right? So say you were talking about, I like something on the other parts of my photo. Well, the minute you select sky, all you got to do is hit that little invert button and it selects everything but the sky. So now I can apply whatever effects I want to that. So if I wanted to, say, increase the contrast on the foreground or maybe decrease the brightness, where I'm able to do that and kind of adjust the photo, maybe even adjust the lighting that's on the front of the photo or the front. So it's using those things in conjunction. That masking tool really helps to really increase that, because then I could come in and say increase the texture on the foreground without increasing the texture on the Milky Way. So then you can see real quick, we can kind of go from there to there. So that's what it is. But yeah, those texture, clarity, and dehaze, and using those locally really helps. But those are the ones that are kind of opposite of what you would think of. A lot of times too, we don't want to use dehaze because dehaze tends to muddy up and kind of decrease colors. But a lot of times in a Milky Way shot, you don't have those problems because most of your image is dark, right? So there you go.
Hey, I think this is, I'll have to keep searching. I was looking for that flag project. Lots more comments coming in. Will says, before that, can you scroll back up a little bit? Lyle, hey, I had dinner with Lyle in Salt Lake City. Hey, Lyle. Lyle says, do you foresee the day when Adobe will break down and do focus stacking in Lightroom Classic? Yes, I do. I could see that. Yeah. I'm not giving you any secret information. It's not, I don't think it's coming like next week or anything, or at max. But I would say, yeah, I could see absolutely focus stacking.
Definitely. Because totally they already have different things. Like they already have the HDR panos, stuff like that that's already working off of the same thing of putting multiple images together. So I could totally see them doing that.
I could totally see that. Doesn't seem like it would be,
Now, Lightroom, if you're talking Lightroom regular versus Lightroom Pro.
Lightroom Cloud?
Yeah. No. That's probably not coming.
No. All right. Will says, do you believe the faster 2.8 lenses will become a thing of the past with all the new software programs out there? I don't think so, because
it's not, because the faster 2.8, well, it matters what you're looking at. Are you looking at the faster lenses just to blur out the background?
To blur out the background. Yeah,
you could argue that.
Maybe that. But can I tell you something, Will? I'm going to make a prediction. Ready? Mm-hmm. I predict that you will see somebody, probably Nikon or Canon, come out and say and make this statement. Now, this isn't like giving me any inside information. It's just my prediction.
Okay.
That they're going to say, we make cameras for professionals, period. Because they've lost the consumer market. The consumer market is phones, right? And like
really,
the sales of point and shoot cameras are almost completely gone. I think done. Nikon just announced they're not going to make them anymore. Yeah. Like their Cool Pix line, they're not even going to make those low end cameras. And I think that to help differentiate why you would buy a Canon or a Nikon, I don't think Sony will do this, but Canon and Nikon, they will say, we make cameras for professionals. And that means serious amateurs will want to buy them, and pros will buy them.
Yeah, I can see that.
It will be very much, this is who our market is and this is who we are. Because Canon and Nikon used to be for everyone. If you just had a new kid and you wanted a camera, they had that. If you wanted a small, lightweight camera, they had that. If you wanted one just to shoot your kid's graduation, they had that. And then you moved up and now, and they're just going to go, forget all that. We are.
Well, they almost have to.
I know.
It's
This
like
is
they
what I'm
almost
saying.
have to.
I think they're going to say
these things
it.
are so good.
I think they're going to say it.
Yeah, they have to.
I think
Yeah,
they're gonna
I
say
see
it.
what you're saying.
I think they're going to come out and say, we make professional cameras, and that's who we are, and that's what we do. And then all the heat will go off them, right?
Yeah.
You won't be saying, and they won't be looking at how badly their sales are and all. They're going to go, hey, we just sold to pros. They're going to be, that's what I think. All right.
Okay.
Lisa. Hey, Lisa. How you doing there?
Yeah.
All right. Lisa says, I would like to learn how to produce stitched panoramas. What's the best class or video for me to watch to learn how to make panoramas with multiple images? Keep in mind, I'm a visual, so reading is not my forte of learning. Gotcha. I think that's most of us. I mean, there are people that prefer to learn by book, but I think most people are visual.
That's the reason why we have so many classes, right?
That's why we have so many classes. All right.
Yep.
So Lisa, it is surprisingly easy. I don't know. Wait, somebody did a class on panos for us.
I did a class on shooting panos. I think she wanted the stitching. The stitching is very easy, but then we've had other classes in the past. Too.
Somebody did a landscape class for us.
Yeah.
That was on panos.
I think it was Rami.
Was it Rami?
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna find out.
We're gonna look for that, Lisa. So hang tight just for a minute while Eric's searching. But I'm pretty sure we had a landscape class on panos. We had a whole class on just.
No.
Hold on. There's somebody else did a class.
No, it wasn't. You're thinking of a different one.
No?
Yeah.
Steve Hansen. That's who it was. It was Steve Hansen. That is right, Juan. Let's go see. Out in San Jose.
Artistic landscape panoramas.
Why didn't that show up under a panorama search?
I must have spelt it different.
You must have spelled it different?
Yes.
All right, yes. So, Lisa, go watch Artistic Landscape Panoramas from Steve Hansen. Shot out in, where did you say? San Jose? Santa Fe? Shot out in San Jose. And I believe it covers both the shooting and the stitching and all that stuff. And they have not really added much to the panoramic stuff in days. Except for it's now easier to do HDR panos. So now you can do, instead of just going click, 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 you go click, 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 HDR, click, 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 HDR, click, click, click. But you select all of those images, and Lightroom will put them all together at once for you, which is a new thing. And
it's super easy.
Oh, it's super.
You literally just go through the images, you select them all, you hit HDR pano, and it just happens.
Yeah.
In fact, I got one.
I was gonna go look.
Probably pull one up.
Yeah, we'll pull one up for you, Lisa. Hang on.
Let's see.
Gary asks, do you do your Photoshop and Lightroom editing with a mouse or a pen tablet like Wacom tablets? Your thought on using pen tablets? Jerry, pen tablets are amazing. They are fantastic, and once you use one all the time, you'll never want to go back. That being said, when I'm doing serious retouching, I pull out my tablet. And the rest of the time, I work on a trackpad. So I don't use a mouse at all, period. I have a trackpad on my laptop. This is my main machine. I do have an iMac at home that I use. But I don't really use a mouse. I even have a trackpad for my iPad. So you can buy just a standalone trackpad. But if it's like I'm doing a serious retouch, I pull out the tablet. And I love it. But I would say this. I'll give you a tip. The tip is, buy a small one. Get a small, don't get the big one, don't get the medium one. Get a small one that fits on your desk that you can even throw in your laptop bag. Get a small, so get the Wacom small. You'll like it better. Plus, you don't have to move as far to go across your screen. It's all kind of better. All right.
So here we go.
This.
We were in Scotland, right? We pulled off to the side of the road. We got out to this vantage point. And I just set my tripod down and just did HDR all the way through, right?
So what you do is you set your camera to bracketing.
Yep.
You let it take the first 3 shots. Then you rotate your camera a little to the right. Take 3 more shots. 2 stops under, regular, and 2 stops over. And then what you do is you select all of the images.
Photo merge, HDR pano.
That's it.
And that's it. And then it just does it's going to do all all the stuff that you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, just let's watch a second here. It won't take long.
Yeah.
This is the preview window, so it kind of uses low res to show you a preview, and then you hit merge, and it does the high res. But
Yeah.
in a second here, it's going to merge all the HDRs together, and then merge the pano together.
Yeah, it's actually all the way back here too already. But and then while we're waiting for that, because my computer is really slow.
Yeah, it's kind of dragging.
Computer
There.
is slow.
JC says, do you have any tips on getting motivated to shoot? The nearest city is 100 miles away, and everything in Key West seems mundane after living here for 29 years. How can I learn to see what seems every day in a new way? I will be honest with you, JC, it's hard to do. That is a very hard thing to do because you get immune to your own place. You get immune to your own backyard. Oh man, that's dude, there's something ain't right there.
Seriously.
No, seriously, something's not right there.
I know. My computer's been acting up lately.
Yeah, it's time to. Well, it's definitely time for a restart.
I have.
But beyond that,
I have.
You know what you should do? Do you know that if you have a computer and it's going like this, because this is not a Lightroom thing, if you go to the Apple store, they will run a diagnostic on it with it right there. They'll run it at the Genius Bar. They'll run a diagnostic and they'll tell you if it's a hardware issue or something like that. All right. So
somebody's asking, Melissa's asking about the how does the autofocus work with a Sigma 100 to 150 to 600 and R7? I can't say I never used it before, but I will say I've used the Sigma 150 to 600 on an R3 and an R6 and not had a problem whatsoever. So I don't think it would have a problem any more with the R7. It's the same kind of systems, but I mean, part of it is just kind of testing it out. And there you go. Actually, so it's stitched.
There it is.
And I just hit merge, and then it merges it. And then what it's going to throw me back is a file over here. And there's the merged file. So done. So that's really all there is to that. It's just, and I didn't even, that was literally really quick. It was like I leveled my tripod and just did the pan, and we jumped back in the car. So.
And we jumped back in the car.
I was maybe there 3 minutes. So that's why you saw the waves. I don't like that when I have the waves in my panos.
The waves in his panos.
I don't like that.
So anyway, getting back to JC's question, I don't really have a great thing for you, JC. And it's funny, for me, I would get inspired by going to Key West. I love Key West. But then I only see it 1 day or 2 days or a couple days.
Yeah, I mean, if you were there every day, I could get it.
I can get it.
That is a, like you said, that's a hard thing, is to keep motivated, to keep shooting something. I mean, that's also why you got to find something that you love to shoot on a regular basis. And it might also be that you're doing stuff locally to practice because you have a genre that you need to travel for. You know, that happens. Yeah. It happens to me.
And I think that would be one of the things that I would say is, I would say that you're going to have to probably travel, because honestly, travel is inspiring on some. You get so much out of travel. You know, you get the experiencing other cultures, experiencing other people, experiencing other food, experience other architecture. There's so many great things about travel, and you got a big enough airport there that you could fly to. You know how quick it'd be to fly to Cuba? It's 83 miles away. Yeah, I know from Tampa it's less than an hour to fly there.
Yep.
And
but that's what you got to find, those things that you love. But then what you do at home is you practice. Like, again, I'm not into wildlife that much. I've tried. I actually, it's one of those genres too that I totally respect, because it's super hard, right? But I love shooting wildlife to practice for other things I do.
Yep.
Not to shoot wildlife. It's
right.
It's a practice. So sometimes you're doing stuff around your own home of things that you want to then aspire to do other places. So then when you get there, you're not trying it for the first time.
Hey, great comment here from Mike Worley. We're talking about the AI-generated pictures. Getty Images, which is one of the largest, if not the largest, stock photography house in America, and they cover every major event out there. They are the top of the rung there. Getty came out today saying they will not accept AI-generated pictures, and they're deleting any ones that have been posted. And it doesn't apply to photos that are adjusted with Lightroom or Photoshop, but if it's AI created, you know, they want real photos, and that makes sense. I mean,
it is getting pretty crazy. Like it's the one you're talking about. Like, you can actually, people are describing putting things into their pictures and then uploading their pictures, and the AI will actually put something that is totally generated. It's not like it copied and pasted a photo. It generated a photo from its mind's
from scratch.
Like, what? It's weird. It's bizarre.
What's the big one that's called? Begins with a D.
Dolly.
Yeah, Dolly.
Dolly. That's it.
That's the big
one.
one.
That's it. Dolly. So Dolle, I think it is.
Yep.
Dolly. And if you feed it, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're coming for our jobs.
All right, well, guys, we're out of time. We're 7 minutes over, which is I don't know how that happened so quickly. But
we got to give away the prizes.
I was going to say it's time to give away the prizes.
Yeah, we got to do that. All right, so let's see here. We got Scott's travel photography book is going to P. Curry. And then Carmen is going to get the How Do I Do That in Lightroom book. And then Jeannie is getting the Platypods, so the Platypod Twin Pack. And then Steve S2214 is getting the V-Flats.
He's getting into studio photography. Would love to have a V-Flat.
Yep, there you go. You're getting the V-Flats. And then Dwight from Tennessee is definitely getting the V-Flat Duer boards since he's in Tennessee. So there you go. And then John Austin is going to get the On-One Effects.
Oh, it's
because he says On-One Effects looks to be fantastic.
It is.
So you're going to love it. There you go.
Yep.
So just email us over at gridprize@kelby1.com. We'll verify your information and then send you over a prize.
Well, folks, that went whizzing by fast.
Yeah.
Lots of great questions today. Thank you for everybody that posted a question. Congratulations to the folks that won stuff. We will be back next week with another riveting episode of The Grid. Thanks to our crew here, all of our sponsors, to Christina and company, and thanks to you guys for watching today. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Have a good chicken sandwich if you can. It's not going to come from Burger King.
Ain't going to come from Burger King.
Ain't going to come from Burger King.
Chick-King.
Come and join me in beautiful Prague, where I'm going to share some of my favorite tips, secrets, and techniques and settings and everything about shooting beautiful travel interiors. So if you're doing travel photography, how do you come back with those amazing shots of cathedrals and opera houses and theaters and museums and palaces and all those great places? We're on location where we're going to do two parts, a part one on the shooting and a part two on all the post-processing. And I'm going to show you all of my favorite tricks, all of my favorite secrets. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a fast, quick-paced session. So come with me to Prague and let's learn how to create beautiful travel interiors.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.